Hello, my name is Nicole Smith. I currently teach practical biology and anatomy and physiology, grades 10 through 12. For this project, I focused on photosynthesis versus cellular respiration. In this topic, we go through the steps of each process, how they're related and how they're dependent upon each other, the different equations for photosynthesis and cellular respiration. It also reviews topics like autotrophs versus heterotrophs, how cells use energy and obtain energy. For my particular lesson, though, I focused on the relationship between photosynthesis and cellular respiration. I chose this particular unit and this lesson because based upon teaching this lesson beforehand, students often have a lot of trouble understanding photosynthesis and cellular respiration. The processes are very abstract and they occur at a microscopic level, so it's not something the students can actually visualize and see, and they can't actually watch the processes occur. So it's very hard for them to understand how they work and the fact that they're actually occurring in their own cells. Based on pre-assessments that I've given the students beforehand in previous years, I've come to understand that they do understand that we get our energy from food, but they don't really understand how the organism is then able to break down that food to turn it into energy, which would be through cellular respiration. They've heard of the terms photosynthesis and cellular respiration, but they don't understand the step-by-step process. And more importantly, they don't understand how those two processes are related, that the products of cellular respiration are the reactants of photosynthesis and vice versa. So that's what this particular lesson was meant to emphasize upon. So that brings us to the purpose statement or goal of this particular lesson. The goal of it was for students to identify the relationship between photosynthesis and cellular respiration by comprehending that photosynthesis converts sun's energy into chemical energy, while cellular respiration uses chemical energy to carry out our life functions. The typical students I have for this particular class and would have this unit are sophomores between the ages of 15 and 16. Typically I have close to an equal mixture of boys and girls in the class. They're all in the practical biology course, which is a course that's not accelerated, but it is required for graduation. I do typically have a couple students that are either juniors or seniors that are retaking the course. The students should have taken already physical science, so they do have some basic skills in science, but they should not have gone over photosynthesis or cellular respiration just yet. This is a practical course, so I do often have many students that are not very motivated or not very interested in the topic because it is a course that they have to take and not a course that they chose to take. So that can kind of be a struggle trying to make sure I grab their interest and that they are motivated to learn. For integrating technology, in the lesson that I focused on, after the students complete a lab in which they compare photosynthesis and cellular respiration, they are then supposed to answer analysis questions and also post the answers to their analysis questions on an online discussion forum. So this would kind of give them a chance to read other students' responses, be able to respond to those students' answers, and kind of have a discussion and not really be afraid about being wrong or how people are going to judge them based on their answers. I also often frequently use PowerPoint to show class notes, or I also show YouTube videos to emphasize points. So those would also be ways that technology could be integrated into this particular unit. The formative evaluation was very helpful, especially the expert formative evaluation. He provided some different ideas or different things that I could incorporate into the unit. In particular, he talked about the online discussion forum, that if it was something that the students were not used to or something that was not used often, that it may be more of a hindrance or they may not see the connection there. So Instead, possibly just making a YouTube video or a video on their phone explaining their results would be another way that the students could express their answers. Also, allowing them to be a little bit more creative and including more inquiries was another suggestion he included, which I thought was good because a lot of times in the science classroom it's hard to incorporate creativity. So if instead of giving them a laboratory to conduct, instead I allowed them to create their own laboratory to show the relationship between photosynthesis and cellular respiration, that might be a good alternative as well. There's not a lot that I would change or do differently next time. I felt that the unit went pretty well, the lesson went well, and it was a good laboratory to use. The only thing I might change would be to incorporate more technology throughout the unit. There was some technology integrated, but I feel like I could probably put more into it to benefit the students. Using this particular ADDIE model and this process did change my project a little bit through the course. Mainly, it forced me to look at the details of the project and not look at it as an entire unit. As I looked at the different standards, different technology standards, each particular lesson and all the details that went into that, I felt that that was beneficial. Typically, I look at a unit as a whole and what I need to cover and what I need to include in there. So I felt that breaking it down into all these smaller chunks definitely helped me cover everything I wanted to cover. I do believe this ADDIE model will help me in the future as a teacher. It will help me create new units or maybe revamp units I already have. Again, by being able to break it up into these different steps and looking at each lesson and each goal I want to focus on, I think I'll be able to ensure I'm covering everything I want to cover in a particular unit. So I do think it will help me in the planning process of all of my lessons and all of my units in the future.